Welcome back to the LPR Trading Group YouTube channel. It's Dave again. We've got another video for you today. We're going to be talking about footprints again. There were a few people who had some questions on the footprints, how to read them. They were interested. The video got a bunch of likes, a bunch of views. So I figured we'd do another video on this. Now I want to take a bit of a different approach on this video. I want to go through today's price action on the Sierra chart replay. So this will be kind of a neat video because you'll be able to see how the Sierra chart replay plays out. Now I've got a little screen over here. I'm going to be adjusting the speed. Okay, so we can speed this up a little bit, and I'll be pausing and playing the video. We've got it set on May 15th of 2023. I'm going to play this and we'll talk about it, and I will pause the video when I have some things that I want to talk about. There might be some areas or levels marked up on this footprint chart. I did not trade from this computer today, or this setup, and trading Sierra chart, pardon me, doesn't have like a cloud-based storage system, so it's all local. So any things that you might see on this chart would really have no relevance to today's price action. But we're going to go through the day, and I'm just going to focus on the footprints and show you sort of the things we see. One thing I want to note is if you're a scalper, you could definitely use these footprints solely and just trade off these things. Just watching where buyers or sellers are accepting price, where the weaknesses of the pushes up, pushes down, and find little areas to scalp around. The way I like to use them personally is I like to have my bigger picture areas marked out. And listen, it doesn't matter what type of bigger picture areas or bigger picture setups you're looking for. If you guys are trading, ICT type methods or whatever it is, and you're looking for those areas, the important part is just wait for these areas to hit and see if we can get a reaction off them. So what I'll do is I'll play this right now, and if I remember correctly, right off the open we do get something sort of pop up that's interesting. So I will pause that when we get this showing here. Price is now open, market's open. One thing that I want to note is anything that you see in red is going to be aggressive sellers selling at the bid. So they're hitting the bid aggressively. Anything that you see in green or with a positive delta is going to be a surplus of aggressive buyers hitting the offer. Okay, so these are just deltas. And if you don't know what delta is, you can look it up, or I have previous videos talking about delta and exactly what it is, but we'll continue going through this video in this chart. I currently have it on 4 times speed. I might speed it up a little bit more because there is a lot of time in the day that I want to get through here. Maybe I'll pop it up to 5x here. And we'll just watch how price is playing itself out. When you're watching footprints, I do like to watch these all day really, or whenever I'm on the charts, typically trading from 9:30 to 11, but you're not taking a trade based off, oh my gosh, I see a seller here, or I gotta sell, or I see a buyer, I gotta buy. No, use this around your bigger picture ideas. So here's the first thing that I wanted to note on the day. We open, price opens at 9:30, and remember these are Renko footprints, so this is not a 1 minute bar, 1 minute bar. These are range type bars on a Renko, right? So they're going to print differently. One bar could last for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. Another time, like during an FOMC, I could get 15 bars print in 1 minute. Just to give you guys an idea of how these Renkos are working here. This is the first interesting thing I see here. Okay, so you see this 1,211 contracts. I believe that goes all the way up to 1,250-ish. This is going to be a little light bulb, right? So this is our little light bulb area right here. This is the first thing I've seen in the market that does not indicate a trade. It's just a little puzzle piece, right? Like, oh, there's interest in this area. And there's passive sell interest. I know it's green. Those are aggressive buyers hitting this thing at 41.38. But there was a passive seller there absorbing those buys at that time, right? So this is an area. So what do I typically do when I see something like this? I like to get my tools out, and I'll grab a horizontal line, and I'll just drop it right on top. And I leave it there. That's it. I don't take a trade off this. I just drop it right in this area. Now, one of the levels I did have marked out today was 41.2675. So when price gets down in that area, this is when I'm starting to look for clues like this to possibly take a trade. Now, one thing about these big orders is these things can be traded a few ways if this is in your area or if you're a really hyper scalper. When I see these big orders show up, depending on how they play out, if it's a seller, right? So if it's green, this is a passive seller sitting here absorbing buys. If price pushes through this area and cannot hold below this area and we get back below, we're typically going to lose this area and go. These are weak buyers that got trapped into this seller, and we're typically going to lose this area and make a move to the downside. Same thing inversely. If you have a passive buyer and price moves below it or wicks below it and we reclaim, we're typically going to move to the upside. So as you can see here, we had that passive seller, price tried to drive through, we trapped a bunch of weak longs, and then we just get this big thrust to the downside. Aggressive seller tries to move price down again, and when you get these big sellers hitting price here, or big buyers, whatever it might be, depending on what side of the book they're on, they're almost never going to hold to the tick, right? It's always going to be a general area, maybe a 2-point range, a 3-point range, whatever it is. If everything held to the tick, it would really be dead simple, right? Just short everything that touches 38. And it's funny because today it kind of worked that way, but most days it really doesn't. So we can see that this aggressive seller actually stepped down and started offering lower. As price pushes up, we still can't get back through that original 38 area where that larger seller came in passively on the offer, holding price down. We're on 5x speed here. So guys, this is moving a lot faster than it would during the day. So if you're sitting there saying, Dave, this is crazy, this moves too fast, I can't see anything. I mean, it's moving 5 times the speed it should be. I'll slow it down to 1x speed for a minute. And this is on 1x speed. This is typically the speed that it runs. So you can see this is much slower, much more fluid, and you have a chance to actually, soak up the information that's being printed here. Now, if we ramp this thing up to 5x speed, we're going to start printing bars a lot faster. We just want to get through this, right? And get to the good stuff. So we get back into that 38 here, and we reject again. Buyers failing to accept over 38. There's no aggression to the buy side. That is not met with aggression from the sell side. So as of this moment, we cannot get through and hold through that 41.38, which is an area we marked. Now, did we mark this just randomly? We didn't just throw a random line on the chart, right? We marked this because we saw an aggressive seller step down after the price flushed off that little opening move here. Okay, we're still on 5x speed. We'll let this play out. We've got a bigger bid right here, right? So the 761 is a buyer possibly trying to step in and hold this price up and possibly try and push this price through the 38s. These are the areas a lot of traders get stuck in, right? Because I can see here that the battle is between the 41.38s and the 41.35.50s. I really don't want to play any of this. To me, this is a 50-50 trade. And 50-50 trades are fine if you can manage your risk, but this is purely a 50-50 trade directionally. If you're going to buy this, you got to buy right now and hope it goes through the high. If you're going to buy, or if you're going to sell this, you got to sell closer to 38 so you get good risk versus reward on the trade and hope it's going to break down and make a new low. If you're trading stuff like this, you could find yourself taking a lot of trades throughout the day. Too many trades throughout the day. This is why I avoid trading just in random places. We call it diddling in the middle in the chat. Now, diddling in the middle might not literally mean the middle of a range, but it's just not where you want to see price at the moment, okay? It's just in an area you don't want to see price. Now, I'll pause this for a second, and I just want to mark up this chart as I would mark it up if I was trading. So I would likely drop a box on this area. I'll change the colors to make them a little bit darker and then explain quickly why we're going to mark up this box. I would extend this box out just so we could see it. Now, why do I mark this box up? Well, this is the area that I can see the biggest congestion or the biggest fight, right? We've got 513 here, 671, 1100, 400, right? We've got a large congestion of transactions in this area. It's also the point of control on the day. This could be an area of interest for the future. So I just sit there and mark it up. Do I grip and rip a trade off this thing? No. We just sit there and wait. As I said before, the area we had marked out was at 41.2675, and we were waiting for price to get down into that area. What I'll do here actually is I'll pause this. We're currently trading at 41.30 and change. So we're trading up in this area somewhere here, okay? And we're looking for price to get below. I'll actually drop the line on my TradingView chart. I don't use TradingView anymore for trading, but it's just simpler to go through this with you on TradingView for the candlestick chart. So I had this area marked from the past, and we won't get into that. Again, this is you know, a footprint type video here that we're going to talk about. We'll just watch how the footprints play out, and we'll sort of talk about them and see what they show us really throughout the day. So we've got two areas of interest here. What I would have done too likely is tools, again, horizontal ray, and I would have dropped the horizontal ray right on this big order of 1100 here, and I would have taken this and changed the color to red, just to identify that we had a large buyer in this area trying to buy price up that wasn't retested yet, right? It's not like it broke through and turned it into nothing, okay? This guy is interesting because he continued to still hold price down here. Now price can move through these areas. It just can't absolutely trash it where it's turned it into nothing, in my opinion. So we can see prices moving down. Sellers struggled a little bit here, but they start pricing lower. And as of right now, we're at 10 minutes to 10, and I would have no trade right now. Another big buyer tries to step in right here and holds up all of these aggressive sellers. So this is a small little iceberg, right? 863 contracts hit the bid and nothing at the offer because we haven't printed lower. He's still trying to hold. I highly recommend you never buy these, okay? I highly recommend you never buy a large order like this. A lot of people see this. Oh my gosh, we got a huge buyer here. He's holding up price. I'm going to buy and just put my stop behind him. 99% of the time, price will fly through this thing. And if you're on a one tick stop, which most people do, they'll put a stop right behind him saying, we got a big buyer here. If this goes, you know, I'm just going to put my stop behind him. If we fly through this guy, we're going to drop a point and a half, 2 points for sure. And if you're basing your risk off one tick behind him and you've got a 2 or 3 tick stop on this thing, you're probably going to take a kick in the shins. So I'll let this play out. See how price acts. Look at how big he got here. So 3,800 contracts right here. 3,800 contracts this guy picked up. Iceberg, and price has now gone through him. Okay, we've very temporarily gone through him. This right here is the little shake and bake trade I like, okay? And this is purely a scalp trade. Remember how I told you guys when you see the big seller, you see price shake people out through the top and then we'll move in a given direction? I would take these types of trades for maybe a 3 to 5 point scalp. So this guy here, same thing, and these are just little feeler market trades for me. If my max size was 5 contracts, I would take like 1 contract on this trade. That's it. 1 contract in, take the little push it gives me if it gives me one, and get out. This isn't like a one and done trade. This is just waiting. As I'm waiting for price to get to my key areas and I see these things happen, we can just take 3 points here, 4 points here, 5 points here. If you don't want to trade these, you don't have to. I just encourage you to have a look at them, okay? So this is our big order. Price is broken through. It's shaking people out below the lows who were trying to buy in front of him. So liquidity sweep below the lows. As soon as we push back up, we can buy and go for this little push here. Probably targeting maybe like the 32s, 32.50s, maybe 33s. So we're going to get that like 3 to 5 point scalp to the upside. Okay, so there's our 32s there. Still driving a bit, 32.50, 32.75. We can see buyers are starting to fall off here a little bit. So we're not aggressively pressing higher. You can see that buyers were aggressively pressing higher here. At this point, the deltas are actually thinning out and they're not pressing or putting that accelerated pressure to the upside anymore. So that is like your little scalp trade there. And again, these are just trades in between the bigger trades if you want to take them. If not, just watch them happen and learn. One other thing to note here for the target is we've got this guy right here. Okay, so we've got this guy, this 374. This was a bid trying to hold up price. Sellers aggressively push through this guy. Where do these sellers want to come back to reprice their shorts in? Where they knew they were previously aggressive. So they'll typically come back to these areas, retest them before pushing price to the downside again. And we'll let this just play out for a little bit. So we've broken the low again. Sellers are pushing price lower. Price is getting accepted lower. We're trying to accept lower again here. And we are actually inside of, I will mark it out on this chart so we can see it. Tools, horizontal line, 2675. Okay, so this line right here, we'll change the width to 3 so we can see it, and we'll make the color black. So this was the area I had marked out. This does not mean, excuse me, that you front run a trade and you just buy 2675. Nope. 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 We can't do that. This means that once we get to 2675, we need to watch price action over under 2675 to see if we start getting some clues in the market, right? Some clues in the market that price might start wanting to do what we're looking for. Possibly reverse, possibly give us a deep enough pullback trade to continue getting short if we want to move lower. This is the area that we're watching as price is trading in this area right here. Okay, so what I see so far, and you know, this isn't grounds to jump on a trade again, but sellers have accepted lower. Sellers have tried to accept lower here, but their pressure down here starts getting weak. If sellers are truly accepting lower, you're going to see big blocks like this, big blocks, right? Where sellers are actually driving price lower. Okay, so this is just what's going on in my head here. They make another attempt into the lows. They're trying. You see how weak this is getting right here? You see how big these red blocks are? And there's nothing down here. There's no aggressive sell pressure to the lows. So this is getting my brain going, right? Like, okay, we're below the 2675. Sellers are failing to price lower. We get another jab down right here. Now, if this push down, this would be the third attempt to try and aggressively make a new low and push price down. If we can't push price down and start making a new low, I would probably think on this pullback, even if it stays on this print, I would start one contract on here. And I would start putting a stop maybe, you know, 2 ticks or a point below this low. Somewhere down here or 2275, somewhere in this area. Just to take, let's call a feeler trade on this. We're in our area. We're starting to see sellers very weak into the lows. They can't aggressively accept price lower. So this gets me interested. We'll play this again. Here we go. Another attempt to drive lower. What happens on this attempt to drive lower again? Weak. They cannot expansively drive lower or accept price lower. Every drive lower was only a few ticks, 2-3 ticks, and we saw this exact same thing every time. Weak into the lows. When they did it up here, it was weak. They did it up here, it was weak, right? And what did price do every time it came down? No acceptance, very weak, and price just turned around and started printing to the upside. Okay, so this is sellers not wanting to aggressively sell lower, right? So let's speak hypothetically here. We possibly start one lot here. Excuse me, maybe 25% of a position. I see something that I would mark out here in real time that I did today. Horizontal ray. I'll drop it right on top of these guys, okay? I'll just change the width to 2. I'll change the line color to this blue type color. Why did I put a line here? This is the area that we're starting to stack the battle, right? Like this is the area where the orders are starting to stack in. We had 369 contracts sitting on the bid here to try and buy this up. Aggressive sellers, like they were stepping down before, are now stepping down again. 476 contracts trying to step down and push price through the lows. It's the same thing that happened up in this area. Okay, so let's play this and watch this play out here. That 4 and change turns into 500. Let me move this line so we can see these numbers play out. 500, 580, and we can see price cannot tick above this 41.25. We can't tick above 41.25. I almost know for sure now, if we get above this 41.25, our stop is so good below these lows. It is so good below these lows because this is that seller stepping down and sitting on the offer, trying to passively sell into all of these buyers. So if buyers can get through him and exhaust him and hold up in this area, we could look for more ads at a drive to the upside. Now, I said previously, my full size is, let's say it's 5 contracts. I only got 2 contracts on this trade, okay? I did not end up getting full. Once we started moving up, I did not get the pullbacks I needed in order to get bigger, which is fine. Okay, see now we're starting to flirt over under this guy. We get 1 tick above, and look at this, right? We get the seller come in, selling into the aggressive buyers. Buyers can't continue their aggression to the upside. Still nothing to be worried about. Even if we're in a 50-50 battle here within this range, we have started a position down here based on this because we're into an area of interest from a bigger picture. Okay? So even if we're in a 50-50 trade right here, by the number rules, the trade's either going to break here or it's going to break here. We're in at the lows in an area on our bigger picture. Price starts breaking out, trying to drive higher. Buyers are filling up in the upper end of this range. This is a good sign. Okay, and now look, if I draw a box here, that box is a little bit too small, a box right here. We can see this is the area, this is that like battle area, right, we were talking about. This is the area where all these contracts were stacked in, battling each other out. So at this point, I was in 2 contracts. As soon as I saw, again, what happened? Price could not accept lower. We open up. We try and push down. We get a buyer. Price can't accept lower, which means it can't continue applying pressure to the downside. We're in a big picture area. We're in the area right here that we were previously battling. I get a little bit bigger with the expectation that we're going to push up and move up. Now I'm in 2 lots. In order to get bigger on this trade for me, I want to push up and I'll pull back somewhere into this area to confirm once again we're going to hold and get even bigger. I hate to break the news to you, we don't get that pullback. We're in 2 lots. It is what it is. We can see how price starts aggressively moving to the upside. Now, an important thing to note is we still have these 2 areas that we marked out overhead, right? These 2 areas could be targets for our long here. So if we're long at 24.50, which was my average, we could start targeting the 35s. It's point of control on the day. It's where this large buyer tried to hit price. It's where we have all of these large orders stacking in this area. This seems like a very reasonable area to take some off to me. Another area that seems very reasonable is in front of this 38. So far, this order has proven to hold, and push price down. What says he's not still around? He might be, and he might hold, and push price down. Really, I would think that if this 38 is holding price down here, the majority of people would have their stops up in this area, okay? And the majority of people would want to start shorting this area. So my idea would be we're probably going to build some more liquidity here, and I talked about this in chat today. We're going to build some more liquidity here before we push up. My next area I was looking for a short was 39.50 to 41. Okay, so you can see we're continuing to drive higher. It's very nice. Buyers just continuing to accept higher, accept higher. Once we get above this range high, we want to see the buyers continue to accept higher. Point of control is now moved down to 41.31.25. I'll speed this up even a little bit more. We're on 7x speed right now. I just want to be able to get this price action in here. At least a test of 41.38 again. At least a test of 41.38 is what I want to see. And I know this video is going to go on for a little bit longer, but I mean, it is what it is. This is how the market works. So there we go. We get a drive through the highs, which was very nice. Into this area, we're looking for targets. Price starts stalling for a reason, right? I mean, there was a party here before. You can't just walk all the way down a city block looking for a party, bump into the house that had a party last week and not knock on the door and ask if anyone's home partying, right? Like this is what's happening. It doesn't mean we're completely going to reject here, but it means there should be exactly what's happening. There should be some sort of fight here, right? They showed face before. They should show face again. And this is exactly what's happening. This is a reason why you want to take a target here, in my opinion, is because these kind of things happen, and this could hold, reverse, maybe not reverse and break the lows, but reverse far too deep than you want. If it reversed here, I'd actually be looking for some sort of value down here to actually add for the push to the upside. It looks like buyers are taking this thing right now. They're starting to accept higher. We're getting back into that 38 area, and now price is starting to get shy again. 38 to the tick. Right? Back into that 38 to the tick. We're rejecting. And again, this is where I start thinking, what goes through my head here is think like bad retail, trade like big money, right? Okay, what would bad retail be doing right now? Well, bad retail would be seeing maybe this order, maybe if they're using a candlestick chart solely, which is, I mean, fine. A lot of traders do this. If they're using a candlestick chart solely, they might see this area right here, right? Like, oh, look at this 38, it's holding here. And this is where we're currently trading at right now on our footprints. What's holding down is respecting the 38s. So if they're shorting the 38, short, all of their stops are just going to be sitting above here, right? Stops. Anyone who is shorting this, stops. So the market's going to just build structure in here in order for what? In order to come up and just take all of these stops, right? And we talked about this in the chat, and I said, I would rather not short the 38s. I would rather see a squeeze up here and short the 39.50s, the 41s. And I actually shorted this. We just got a partial, and then we rallied and stopped out. I mean, it is what it is. It was a try. It was a, we made money, but it was a fail, really. I would take that trade over again. Let's hit play on this. So back into the 38s here. The important part about this is you've got these 38 tests. Sellers need to start accepting where? Below these lows and below the point of control again. Look at how this is, look at how buyers are using this area, this point of control, the previous areas that they were putting aggressive price action on. They're using these areas on these little micro pullbacks to hold price up, right? Holding price up, point of control, holding price up, previous buyer, holding price up. It would be really difficult to just short the 38s if you top ticked it and then run into this giant floor of a mess that price has to get through in order for you to do anything, right? So you peak above the 38s here, and there we go. There's this like little thrust that we need to get through the 38s. Buyers start accepting higher. Anyone who was shorting the 38s here, I mean, here you were good. You got to move. Anyone who's shorting these 38s here and they had their stops up here, they just got fished out, right? They just got completely fished out. Now something interesting, right here you can see buyers start to get weak on these pushes, right? You see how the top ends of these are getting weak. We're getting sell imbalances here printing on this side. Sellers aren't having it, right? They're just saying, no, guys, listen, we want to turn at this too. You guys have taken this thing from, 23 all the way up to 40. We want to turn. So this is where sellers are going to try and hit it. How successful will they be? I mean, at this point, we didn't know, right? My idea on this short actually was take some back off into the 34.35s because we were short from 40.50 or 40.25, something like that. This was our first partial, and I actually had my last target down in the 27s. Why the 27s? That's where I would want to rebuy this thing for a move to the upside. And again, like I said, we didn't get all the way down there. It is what it is. What's happening in this place? Right down here. Like, look at all this. Buyers have all of this action around here to hold them up, right? Point of control on the day, previous buyer. It's this area that we marked out previously. They're just holding, holding, holding. There's just so much down here for them to hold. We can see sellers can't accept lower at this point. You know, aggressive buyers come in. They actually push above the passive seller that was sitting down here. That's really strong for buyers. Into a key area, right, that we had marked out, into point of control on the day. These are the types of trades that you want to look at taking, right? These are the types of trades that you want to look at taking. Let's pause this here. We'll flip over here. So this is the pullback right here that we just witnessed. The pullback right here that we just witnessed. Okay. So on a candlestick chart, I mean, it's hard to see this kind of stuff, right? You don't know where the buyer was, where the seller was. You can have, you know, a volume profile to see where the you know, volume point of controls are and stuff like that. But I mean, for me personally, this just gives me a deeper dive into what's going on. Is it like the golden ticket to trading? Absolutely not. No one single thing is a golden ticket to trading. It's the combination of everything that makes your trading system profitable. You going on, you back testing it, doing replays just like this, watching price move around. So you see something over and over and over again, you familiarize yourself with it. It becomes much easier to take it in real time when you see it the next time. Okay, so we'll let this play out. I'm going to speed this up. This is like, I'm on 10x speed right now. You know, one thing that's going for buyers right now is sellers are failing to accept lower into a point of control right here, which is why we took a partial. And then we had a large buy imbalance push through this passive seller that stepped down here and started pushing price back to the upside. As soon as we get over this guy, it's going to be really tough for sellers to grab a hold of this again and turn this thing over. They kind of had their chance on this dump. They needed to start aggressively pushing price lower. Buyers were just, you know, more willing to step up and hold price up, as sellers didn't want to push price lower. So now we're after 11 o'clock as well. We're sitting at 11:06. I actually had an order. Pause. So average was somewhere in this area. Stop was 41.25. We got a partial down here, and this last piece I got an alert when I was away from the desk, and I stopped at this last piece. So I know this breaks the high, obviously, you know, before we go down to the 27, which was my target. Boom, and there's my stop getting taken when I wasn't there, which is great. I mean, you feel less pain that way. Not that you should feel any pain taking a stop, because that's part of your trading plan. You should actually give yourself a pat on the back for respecting your stop and moving on to the next trade. Anyways, I just wanted to chat about today a little bit. I hope that helped you guys understand, you know, just a little bit deeper into the prints and everything. If you guys just use candlesticks and you're successful and it works for you, just please keep doing that. Don't worry about all of this stuff, right? I don't want to steer anyone away from what they're doing if it's working for them. If you've been interested in footprints and this does help you, and you know, you wanted a little bit of a deeper dive into it, I mean, I hope these videos are giving you guys everything that you need. You know, as always, like, comment, subscribe. We love having you guys here, and thank you guys so much for all the support on the channel. Looking forward to see you guys in the chat room. I will definitely be launching another free trial for the chat room soon. It'll be 2 weeks, no strings attached. You come in 2 weeks, no sign up, subscriptions, nothing. If you like it, you can you know, stay. If you hate it, you can leave. As always, be safe on the charts, guys, and we'll catch you guys in a bit. Thanks.